Welcome back, everybody. I'm Latimer. So we got Dragonflight Season 4 right around the corner. And with that, we got some major changes happening to the dungeon system. And this is all done just to make the dungeons more relevant for a longer period of time. It is a well-known fact that as soon as the season starts, basically normal, heroic just becomes obsolete and pretty much non-existent for most players very shortly after the season starts. Now, some of these changes are positive, and some might be negative. I'm not 100% sure yet, but we're going to have to wait and see. But let's check that out here. But before we do, though, make sure you give it a like, give it a subscribe, hit that notification button. That way you never miss a video when I drop one. All right, let's check this out. Okay, so I'm going to leave a link down below for you guys to check this out for you if you want. So basically what they're saying for player feedback is that there's three main reasons why they're making these changes. The first reason is that heroic dungeons are barely distinct from the normal dungeons at maximum level. Basically, once you reach maximum level, normal dungeons just completely lose all relevance. There's no point in running them. Absolutely agree there. Second reason is Mythic Zero dungeons lose relevance really, really fast. So very shortly after the expansion release or very shortly after the season starts, they are just obsolete unless there is a kind of weekly dungeon quest involved. The last reason is that the only true endgame dungeon mode, they say, revolves around a timer. And this is absolutely true. And this is one of the things that most players I've heard be vocal about is that they hate the timer. Absolutely hate the timer. And so basically, other than the new mega dungeons, they say, there really isn't a place for endgame players to enjoy a more methodical dungeon pacing game and gameplay. Now, they've left out a major issue that a lot of players have brought up, and I've heard a lot of players be vocal about, and that is the affixes. For some reason, they're not included in this. I don't understand why they didn't address some of those, but either way, we're going to go with what they have, and we'll break them down as we go. All right, going word for word here. Given the combination of two underutilized difficulties and a gap in meeting player demand, we're restructuring dungeon difficulty and rewards in Season 4. So not only is the dungeon difficulty being adjusted, so are the rewards that you're going to receive going forward. Now, heroic difficulty and rewards will move up roughly to the current level of Mythic Zero. That being said, these dungeons will remain on the Group Finder for you to be able to queue to. However, keep in mind your item level requirement for doing those dungeons will also go up. Okay. Mythic Zero difficulty and rewards will move up roughly to the current level of Mythic 8 to 10. They quote, this is a bit hand wavy. Numerically, it's close to Mythic 10, but not having a timer at all or affixes really offsets that quite a bit. And I would agree with that. Not having the timer or affixes definitely reduces the difficulty and makes it a lot easier for you to achieve completion. Now, the existing Mythic Plus system will pick up where that leaves off, such that a Mythic 5 in Season 4 is roughly equivalent in difficulty rewards Mythic Plus rating awarded to a Mythic 15 today. All right, so basically the Mythic 5 is going to be a Mythic 15. Each dungeon is basically going to increase exponentially in difficulty. So a level 2 is going to be equal to a level 11 and so forth like that, whereas a level 10 is actually going to be equal to a level 20. So we're going to see lower numbers, tighter grouping of dungeons, and more difficulty in between each jump. So here's a quick visualization to explain how this is actually going to look. So the white circles represent the dungeon difficulties, and then the light blue shaded circles are going to represent when the affix is inserted into the dungeon difficulty. So you got your normal heroic Mythic Zero, right? At the beginning of the expansion, people would run just enough of normals to get enough gear to get into heroic. Then they would run the heroic just enough gear to get into the Mythic 2. So they bypass Mythic Zero pretty much altogether. And then once they get into Mythic 2, they would never go back to heroic or Mythic Zero because there was just absolutely no need for it. Now, Mythic 2, it would be when your first affix would kick in, and then Mythic 7, and then Mythic 7, for your second, and then Mythic 14 for your third. And then that you would run with 3 affixes continuing on up to the highest level key you can reach. In the new Season 4, in the new system, you're going to have your normal, which is going to run in difficulty all the way up to basically Mythic 0. And then heroic is going to run starting with difficulty at essentially Mythic 0 all the way up to the new Mythic 0. And then the new Mythic 0 is basically going to have the equivalency of difficulty for a Mythic 10. Now, so the timer has been removed in that area. Now, starting at the new Mythic 2 is when you're going to get your first affix, and the timers are going to start again. Then your second affix is going to come in Mythic 5, and your third is going to come in Mythic 10, and Mythic 10 being the equivalency of Mythic 20 for difficulty. So they're really trying to draw attention to the fact that there's no timer like the present, right? So as they said, one of the most notable changes players can look forward to is the removal of timer for Mythic Keystone dungeons for what are currently 0 to 10. Players can run through these dungeons at their own pace without the need to watch the clock while still honing their skills. So basically, for Mythic 0 to 10, there is no longer a timer. Now, here's a look at the changes for each difficulty. Okay, so normal, this difficulty is not going to be changed at all. Heroic, the tuning and rewards for this difficulty are increasing to the equivalency baseline of Mythic 0. Mythic difficulty changes and mechanics will not be present in this difficulty. This remains a queuable experience. Okay, now Mythic, the tuning and rewards of this difficulty are increasing to the equivalent of a plus 10. Now, there are no timers, affixes, or limitations, or changing specializations or talents within these dungeons. So you cannot change your talent tree, you cannot change your abilities, gear, so forth like that. The goal is to create a mega dungeon-like difficulty for this experience. So for like the Dawn of the Infinite. All right. Mythic 0 is still on a weekly lockout under this model. Okay, so you can only run one. Now, Mythic Plus, the Mythic Plus system will have rewards up to level 10 with plus 2 starting from what would be regularly plus 11 in the current Mythic system. So a plus 5 should be as hard as a plus 15. A plus 10 should be as hard as the plus 20. Affixes will slot in, as I said, at the 2, 5, and 10. Now, plus 2 will consist of 4 to 5 tyrannical, plus 5 entangling, incorporeal, etc. Plus 10 bursting, bolstering, that sort of deal. Now, these are the ones that people wanted to have dealt with. Bolstering was one of the biggest ones that people have an issue with. Dungeon ratings should be equivalent to what they represent in the current system, and there should be a smaller range of keystone levels to find groups for. So with them, kind of basically what they're doing is they're key squishing. All right. And so this is going to basically reduce the amount of range for people looking for dungeons. So there should be more people queuing for, say, a level 1 to a level 2, level 4, level 6, whatever the case may be. There's going to be more people looking for those specific dungeons. So they've also included a huge table to explain what gear you're going to get at what difficulty levels based on the item levels and what they used to be and what they're going to. I'm not going to cover this. I'm going to leave the link below so you can look through this because there is quite a bit of information on this table and you can check it out from there. All right. And the last little area that everybody's going to be wondering about is the crests and flight stones and how those are going to be affected with this. Well, Flightstone earnings are for all Mythic Plus will match equally challenging Mythic Plus from previous seasons. So what that means is that if you do a plus 5 in the new season, it's going to reward you as though you did a plus 15 in the last season. Okay. Bonus Flightstone awards for increasing any party member's Mythic Plus score remain unchanged. So you still get that. Now, the biggest change, though, is that Whelpling crests are no longer available for Mythic Plus dungeons. There's plenty of places to farm these in the open world, so they've removed them altogether from the Mythic Plus dungeon. Remember this because you will not be able to farm them there. Players will also earn 10 Drake crests on a successful completion of a Mythic 0 dungeon. Because they have no timer and no affixes, they reduced it a little bit there. Worm Crest will be available from Mythic 2 up to Mythic 5 in the same quantities as before. Aspect Crest will start at Mythic Plus or Mythic 6 and all the way up in the same quantities as before. So these are the changes that they have made all together for dungeons. I hope you guys liked the video. If you haven't done so already, make sure you give it a like and subscribe. Hit that notification button so you never miss a video. And let me know what you think in the comments below. Until next time, guys, keep gaming.